Welcome everyone to my online course for research methods in psychology. My name is Frank Losciavo and I am your instructor. I have a few interesting things to share with you, so sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. As you know, our first research project involved conducting a basic descriptive study on student anxiety and stress. Because our survey measured several variables, and because they were all focused on the same general topic, it's relatively easy to bump our basic descriptive study into a correlational research study. By conducting a correlational analysis, we can see how each of the survey items relates to one another. That, my friends, is what this assignment is all about. First, I'll refresh your memory about correlational analyses. Here you see a correlation matrix showing correlations between question 2, question 5, question 10, and question 11. And by the way, this matrix is for instructional purposes only. In fact, the correlations within this matrix are fabricated data. Just to refresh your memory about correlations, let's focus on the correlation between question 2 and question 10. Question 2 measured a student's anxiety and stress when they were thinking about all the assignments and activities that they must complete this semester. Question 10 was measuring a student's anxiety and stress when thinking about their parents' expectations of their academic performance. The first thing I want to draw your attention to is that it's a positive correlation. So students who report more stress about assignments they must complete also report more stress about their parents' expectations of their academic performance. Next, notice the strength of the relationship between these two variables. The Pearson's R value is 0.575. That's a very strong relationship. The stronger the relationship between two variables, the better the predictive ability. In other words, the stronger the relationship between these two variables, the better I can predict stress about parental expectations based on knowing how much stress a student feels about all the assignments they must complete this semester. Also within this matrix, you'll notice degrees of freedom is listed. Degrees of freedom for this particular correlation equals 98. And that's a relatively simple computation. There are 100 pairs of data that I have here between those two variables. To compute degrees of freedom, we simply subtract 2. So 100 minus 2 equals 98 degrees of freedom. And then finally, as we review some output from this correlation matrix, we see that the p-value is less than 0.001. This p-value, this probability value, is less than 0.05 or 5%. So the correlation between question 2 and question 10 is statistically significant. Remember, the null hypothesis for a correlational analysis states that there is no relationship between the two variables. This p-value tells us that the probability is very small. In other words, it's very unlikely to find a correlation of this magnitude if there's no relationship between the two variables. Because it's so unlikely to find this value just by chance, we conclude that the correlation between the two variables is statistically significant. In this case, it's statistically significant at the 0.001 level. All right, I hope that summary helps refresh your memory. Now that that's out of the way, let's discuss the instructions for completing this week's assignment. If you haven't already, download and install Jamovi. It's awesome and it's free. I strongly recommend using a Mac or a Windows-based PC because the installation process is more complicated when using other devices such as a Chromebook. All right, after launching Jamovi, let's open the analyses we worked on previously. So click on the hamburger menu and then select Open. And then search for the file that you saved on your hard drive. And then click Open. Now that the Jamovi data file is open, let's run our correlational analyses. We'll create a correlation matrix showing correlations between all the quantitative variables we've measured. From the Analyses tab, click Regression. Then click on Correlation Matrix. Our correlational analysis will include questions 2 through 12, so select those variables and then move them over into the variable window to the right. And then go ahead and click on Flag Significant Correlations. For now, that's all we need. And you can see Jamovi has already created our correlation matrix. Now that our correlation matrix looks pretty, let's export the results so that we can more easily view them outside of Jamovi. Go ahead and right-click in the results window. Select All, and then Export. This exported analysis will contain all our analyses, so they'll all be in one place, saved within one file. Go ahead and find a safe location for the file. I recommend naming it Psych 2120 Project 1 Correlations.pdf. When you're ready, go ahead and click on Export. I already have a file with that name, and Jamovi is asking me if I want to overwrite it, and in this case, I do. Now you can view and print that file just like any other PDF file. Next, take some time to look over the results. First, just look for general trends. In other words, what do the results say overall? Generally speaking, do the correlations show positive relationships, negative relationships, or a mix of positive and negative relationships? Of the statistically significant correlations, are the relationships weak? Are they strong? And then dig down a little bit deeper. Which specific results stand out to you? Are any results particularly interesting? Are any results particularly surprising? And finally, follow the instructions for submitting your work. For this assignment, you'll submit your work in two different ways. You'll post your Jamovi data file in the Report File Drop section of our course website, and you'll post your comments in the discussion section of our course website. Well, I hope you found this video helpful. I'll see you in the next video.